for some people, when they hear the word mentor and someone asks them, hey, can you be my mentor? It's a little scary because it's like, in your mind, it's like, oh, it requires all of this additional time. So what is it that appeals to you when deciding to take on a mentee?
How much you've already done for yourself, you know, and if it is very clear you're not trying to be a clone of me, you're not trying to replicate me, you're simply using maybe some of my skill sets and my journey as a template, you know, so you can make it into your own. And for me, a mentee has to be very proactive, you know, and not dependent. Like, I've never breastfed a baby in my life. I'm not gonna do it for grown ass woman or man. You know, so if you are able to take words, and I'm gonna give you actionable advice. That's always my intention. That's what I try to do. So if you can then put it and show me so I know it's not falling on deaf ears, so I know if it waters, something's gonna blossom, you know, then that works. But if it's just so to stunt per se, or if it's like, I need a therapist, you know what I mean? It's not gonna happen like that, because you gotta go to school to be a licensed therapist. I went to school for communications.
Mentorship, I think, is something that's really intimate for me. And I think too often people apply it, use it like it's an application. Will you be my mentor? Check yes, check no. Right. And, you know, again, slide through the DMs and ask for mentorship. And that automatic disqualification, because I feel like you just want me to mentor you because the gram looks like it's popping and you want to be where I'm at. And so for me, I always tell people, find someone in your circle. You know, it goes back to cultivating those relationships, getting to know someone. And you'll find oftentimes you have more mentors than not, because you develop these relationships and you can turn to these people and talk with them and engage with them, versus that very sort of strategic or formulated will you be my mentor thing. And it just, I feel like it just doesn't work like that anymore. Like, it needs to be a relationship. Because for me, when I take on a mentor, like, I'm giving that action, those tangible advice, but we're also like, I'm having you in my home. Like, we're hanging out, like, and I'm doing things with you, and I'm bringing you into my circle, into my environment. You end up being sort of a reflection of me, or someone, you almost become like my little sister or my little sibling. And then sometimes people are not looking for mentors, they're looking for a sponsor. And they need to be very clear on what you are asking for. Like, if you're like, I'm coming to you because I need a job and I need this, like, sis, you need a sponsor. Like, I'm not a sponsor. Like, I can advise you on some things, but a sponsor, you know, that person that's speaking for you on your behalf when you're not even in the room, and bring you up at the table that you may not have a seat at. So I think people need to be very clear on that. Be very clear on how to even have a mentor. Like, if you need a mentor, you just really need to cultivate relationships. It can be a very tricky, finicky thing.
Yeah, and I also think an easy way to do it, like, if you do genuinely believe, say someone like Kayla is like your sibling in spirit, all of the captions are just like, my heart is palpitating, everything is great. We're posting all of the events that we're at as well, you know? And someone who became a mentee of mine, and it's to the point where I call her my daughter. Her name is Raylene, she's in California. But Raylene came to 2 panels that I did, you know, and then emailed me and just had quotes and how she applied it to her life. It was just really interesting, because I felt like I heard myself within her words, but I just got to know her face from that, you know, and I saw that she was really about her business, her brand, but also just her heart too.
That's key. I think that's key, being on point. Like, whatever you say you want, like, prove it, basically.
But I do think, since everyone here wants to their peer group, like, I don't need a super formal email then, if that's the case, you know? Like, I think you have to ask yourself, okay, what is the exchange here? Like, what is the vibe that I'm trying to magnify? And if it is something that's more on a chummy level, like, I don't mind a, hey girl, when you wrote this blog piece, whatever, like, I don't mind that. Because now I'm gonna put you into a more like homey type of bucket, but it has to be intentional. That's where you want it to be. I didn't drop you there by accident.
You have to figure out what you want.
Yeah, I would say, when I look at mentorship, I look at it as like investment opportunity. If I'm going to mentor someone, I get really invested in that person's outcome. I'm going to make sure that person gets to where they want to be, because I know how many people did that for me. So I think when you're thinking about getting a mentor or even mentoring other people, it's really a time investment decision, and someone saying like your success in your career is important to me. And if your mentor, you don't feel like your mentor takes that seriously, you need to find another mentor. And if you want someone to mentor you, you have to get them like, really invested in your success and really demonstrate to them that their time invested in you will be spent well. For me, it's very emotional. Like I want you, like one of my mentees, met him when I was at Goldman. He's now a VP at Microsoft running like 2 geographies. I'm so proud of that. That's makes me feel great. And I'm still pouring into him because I want to be CEO one day.
And that's the key.
And that's the thing. And we go back and forth. And he tells me, "Hey, I used this tactic in a meeting. He told me to, say this in the meeting. I tried it. It worked. Or I'm dealing with this at the office. Can you help me out?" But you're seeing the like progress, and you're seeing it work, and you're like, and you just double down. And it's just a sense of pride that I think you have to think about that framework when you're looking for a mentor.
Like, how many mentees do you have? Sorry.
Yeah, I have 2.
See, because it's so time consuming.
It is.
It's very time consuming. It's intimate. Like you invest a lot of time and energy to people. So like you can't just have like a list of mentees. Like you got to be selective with that process.
I think a great thing to keep in mind for those people who are not entry level, just think of yourself like, what would be appealing to you? I think that's the theme of everything. What would be appealing to you? What would turn you off? Do you have time for a mentor? Do you not? What does this mentee need to do in order to impress you and make you want to commit the time? So we have just a few minutes left. I did want to touch on something that I've kind of seen a lot of panels breeze over, but I noticed so many people were just dying to get an answer. So we're all familiar with meToo, and even though we're in a slightly better place, I wanted to make sure that we equipped you guys with the right armor when approaching these situations, men and women. So my question for the panel is, in this era of meToo, what are some things that you think both men and women can do to help avoid confusing the tone of the relationship?
No extended hugs. And I think that every woman should learn how to give a mean dap. Like, you need to know how to dap these dudes. That comes in handy in the entertainment industry, for real. If you need practice sessions, sis, find me in the corner here. I got the soft, medium, and the rough. Like, we good. I got all levels of it.
Like a good strong handshake.
Yeah,
like it's kind of like, oh dang, but then they get the point.
But sometimes in entertainment, people, because think about it, especially as personality, and maybe you're meeting someone you're seeing them again at an open bar. Like, these are environments that are made to be much more intimate than necessary. To be honest,
and they happen more within this realm.
Yeah.
TV, television.
So sometimes, like, maybe you've seen someone like 4 times. You're not gonna give them a handshake. This is the 4th time you've been around them, but you also don't want to give them a hug because you know that you have a 3-second rule and they have a 12-second rule. You know what I mean? So that's where I feel like that comes in handy. I've had people like lift me up, and I'm like, I'm not your Disney princess. I say that don't twirl me. I'm not Disney princess. Like, that's it. But I take advantage of my personality. Like, if you have a personality like mine, and you can add the special sauce called sarcasm, like, use that. Also, if someone were to text me and I could tell, like, we all know there's a certain hour that's just italicized, bolded, highlighted, underlined, it spells out inappropriate. You know what I mean? I do not respond. I create my boundaries. I hit you up in the morning. I do not want to all of a sudden subconsciously sign this permission slip that says 10 p.m. Tracy's gonna answer.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I want to ask Kayla the same question, then we're going to jump to the men.
Lee has something. I was like,
I have very strong thoughts about this as someone with a little sister who's in corporate America. So I think you touched on one thing: alcohol. Alcohol in the professional environment. You gotta have your focus beams on. Those environments, whether it be at a conference, business trip, and you guys are all in the hotel bar together. There's like basically these like very recurring scenarios that lead to a lot of these issues.
Yeah.
You always hear about something happening in a hotel at some conference or whatever. I'm gonna be very, very careful around those environments. I know it's tough when there's a power dynamic, whether it be a boss or a CEO, and you're a young lady and you gotta balance your career trajectory and these awkward moments. But I think if it feels off, it's off.
Yes.
We were all raised by folks who gave us some sense. That's why we're all here. If it feels off, that feeling is real. And what you're feeling is not fake, it's real. You need to react to it professionally. And trust me, delaying it because you don't want to confront it in the moment, it's just going to make it worse, in my opinion.
True.
So I feel very strongly about that. I try to do things at breakfast and lunch, especially with someone from the opposite sex or someone who's at a lower tier than me at the companies or things I'm involved in. And
so no drinks afterward.
I mean, it's of course you want to feel things out.
Yeah.
You will
But
have.
just play it safe. Though,
Yeah,
right? Like,
to me, it's better to play it safe, but more importantly, when you feel it's off, it's off.
Yeah.
If it feels off, it's off. In my opinion.
Yeah.
And because what we tell our folks in our sales team is, treat her like she's The Rock. If you wouldn't do it to The Rock, don't do it to her. It's overly simplistic. It doesn't cover every scenario, but it's a mindset. If you wouldn't tell The Rock, hey, you look really good in those pants today, don't say that to your coworker.